welcome back. Dr. T, and welcome to Indulgence. So I'm going to do a comparison video now between the two Divine Rose palettes from Pat McGrath. So there was the original Divine Rose palette, which came in this packaging, and then recently she released Divine Rose 2, which came in this packaging, and there are slightly different tones in the palettes. I just wanted to do a comparison video so you could see how they look on my skin tone with actual swatches. I did one video prior, maybe a couple videos by now, just showing how I use them for everyday looks, but got some feedback that wanted to see some comparisons between the two, so I wanted to do like a direct head-to-head sort of comparison video for you. So first I'll just start with the swatches of the different colors, and I'm basically just going to go the top and bottom in order, in sequence of the palettes, but comparing both of them side by side so you can see how they look with swatches, and then on the eyes, since I think how they perform on the eyes is a little bit different than what they look like when you swatch them. So first I'll just do the arm swatches. So we'll start with Skin Show Nude. I'll do all of the original Divine Rose swatches on my left arm, and then I'll do the Divine Rose 2 palette swatches on my right arm. So this is Skin Show Nude. And then this is Skin Show Rose Opal. You can see how one's a little bit more pinky than the other. I've got my handy towel here so I can wipe off between swatches. Try not to distort the colors. The next one down is Extreme Mahogany. And then Divine Rose 2 is Extreme Burgundy. You can see how those compare. And again, I would say the one in Divine Rose 2 is a little more burgundy than the other. Let's see, we're going to go with Viloria next. And this one, and then Naked Blush is the next color in Divine Rose 2. So you can see how those two colors compare. The next one down is Lovelace in Divine Rose 1. And this is Divine Dusk in Divine Rose 2. And just for reference, the shades that I normally wear in foundation, and my arm color is fairly matched with my face color, although they are a little bit off. But my foundation shade reference is a Fenty 445, and I'm a 540 in Lancôme foundation. Where was I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now I'm on Sable Bronze for the original, and Eleganza for Divine Rose 2. Hopefully I'm lining these up pretty good. Yeah. So again, more pinky in the Divine Rose 2. Next is Rose Dusk in Divine Rose 1. And this is Rose Seduction in Divine Rose 2. You see overall, to me, Divine Rose 2 is more impactful on my skin tone, and that's the one I prefer of the two, although I do enjoy both palettes very much. Alright, so next colors we have our Refined Gold 002 and Bronze Rose 005. Next we have VR Rose Venus. Make sure the hands are completely clean. VR Rose Venus. Compared to VR Extraterrestrial. Kind of messed that one up a little bit. Don't judge me. And both of these kind of have a shift to them. The one in Divine Rose 2 has more of like goes from pink to gold to green, and the one in the first Divine Rose is more like gold and orange, maybe? I'm sure there's a official description somewhere. Actually, I'm gonna do that one more time just so you can see a little bit better. Hopefully you can see that shift a little bit. Okay, so there's 2 more colors left in each. So for the Divine Rose 1, there is Iridescent Pink 003. Starting to run out of space here on my arm. And Gold Lust 001. I don't think that these were meant to be like directly comparable palettes, but I think for the most part they did kind of line up with what you would replace one with the other. And these last 4 shades are her special shades, as she always has in her palettes, and so they tend to have more of a shift to them, or a special formula that makes them appear differently or more shiny or what have you. And this one is Astral Solstice, which is the last one in the Divine Rose. And then this is Astral Pink Moon, which is the last one in Divine Rose 2. Let's see both of those. So this one's more of a white color, whereas this one is more gold. Alright, so that's the final swatches of both palettes. And so next what I'll do is put them on my eyeballs so you can see what they actually look like on the eyes. Because again, when I'm deciding whether or not I want to purchase or use a palette, I will look at the swatches. That doesn't usually tell me how it's going to perform on my eyes, especially with being a deeper skin tone. A lot of the swatches will look very impactful, but when I get to actually put it on my eyes and start blending it out, it can just like blend right into my skin tone, even if the shows look really, really great on a swatch. It doesn't perform the same on my eyes. So I think that is important. So we will try that out. I'm going to use my, no wonder I can't find all my shader brushes. They're down on my lap. So I'll put these out here for easier access. And since I'm going to be switching shadows frequently, I'm not going to go ahead and prep my eyes very much with like, I usually put on concealer and then I put on a primer. This is primarily just so you can see how the colors look, and I know a lot of people don't use either concealer or primer just on their everyday basis, and so this is just how they would perform on their own on my natural skin tone. Okay, so this is a Rephr 15 brush. So I'm just gonna put this whole color, or this color, on my entire lid and crease, just so you can see how the color looks by itself. And I'll do the same thing for each color. So this is Skin Show Nude from Divine Rose 1. I'll just sort of pack that on there and blend it out in my crease. I'll try to use either the same or a similar brush on both eyes so you can just see what the colors look like, and it's not a result of the brush I'm using, but mostly how the actual color works. So this is the Rephr 15. And again, since this is just for mostly seeing the color, I'm not going to worry about being too neat and cleaning it up and all that sort of thing. So this is what that color would look like on its own. And I'm going to do like Alicia, maybe bring you in a little closer so you can see my eyes a little better. Maybe, kind of, sort of. I don't know, we'll see how that works. Okay. So I do have a little color switcher from Sephora that I'll use to clean off the brush in between. I'm testing it out my arm to make sure that there's no more of that original color on there, so you can get a sense of the true impact of the color. And it's not mixed with anything else. So this one is Skin Show Rose Opal. So Skin Show Nude versus Skin Show Rose Opal, just by themselves on the eyes. And how they looked different in the swatches. Go. Now if I were to use my fingers, probably could get these to be a little bit more impactful on the lids. So just do that so you can see what that'll look like. Especially since these aren't mattes, these are more, I think, the satin type formula, so they can be built up a little bit to be a little more showy. So that's that one, and then this original Skin Show Nude. That one can be a little bit more golden. Got my little Bioderma micellar water. I used to take these off. And of course, normally I don't just put on one color. Of course, I normally blend them all together or come up with a complete look, but this is just for the purposes of seeing what the individual colors look like on my skin tone, and not just in a swatch on the arm. Alright, so next we will do Extreme Mahogany versus Extreme Burgundy. For those, I will use my Rephr 16 brush. I'll put Rephr 15 back over here. Oh, you know what? Let me show you guys something really neat. So my husband knows of my love for my makeup brushes, and he bought a 3D printer, and so he made me a holder for my brushes. He made a second one that I used at home at work to keep my pens in, and then this one I keep at home to keep a lot of my makeup brushes. So I'll be putting my discarded brushes in here so I know which ones I need to clean to use tomorrow. And if you are around my skin tone, if you have both of these palettes, let me know in the comments which palette you prefer and why. Oh, so this is Extreme Mahogany, and this one is very close to my skin tone, I think. And so this one makes a great crease color. And sometimes I'll even dip into this color if I'm using a different palette that I don't think has a good crease color for me. Because so many palettes are not made for women that are my skin tone. So they'll be like some kind of beige color made for the crease color. And that doesn't necessarily work for me. So I'll often dip into this color to be my crease color as a companion for some other palette. So there's that one. I need to get this camera a little bit higher next time, but it'll do for now. Let's just work with me here. And this one is Extreme Burgundy. I cleaned off the brush. And another really nice crease color. So this one's a little less my skin tone, it's a little more pinky in tone, but still very pretty. So probably one of my favorite colors actually from any of her palettes to use for the crease. Again, not worrying too much about getting it just right. And actually one thing I will do with this one is also use my Sonia G Builder Pro just to get a little bit more impact on the lid itself. This is usually what I use to build this color up on my eye anyway, if I'm going to use it on the actual lid. So you can see how that looks. And clean it off. And same thing on the Divine Rose 2 side with the Extreme Burgundy color. So you can see what those two look like. And again, in comparison to how they swatched on the arm. Get those off. Alright. So the next colors are Viloria and Naked Blush. For those, I will use... I'm probably going to end up having to use some of these brushes over again. My number 15 Refer brush. And yes, I do have... Did I use a 15? Oh, I did use 15 already. Okay, so some brushes I have duplicates of. Don't judge me. The handle is different. It's one shiny and longer. The other one was more matte. So they're different. So I need both. Okay, this one is Viloria. Oh, and that's another thing. So with some of these I get a more fallout. And sometimes they can get kickback in the pan. What am I doing? About to mess that all up. But that doesn't bother me. I don't know. It seems like a lot of people make a big deal about whether or not there's kickback, and if that tells you, I guess, something about the quality of the shadows or something. I don't know. I don't really care what it looks like in the pan. I care about how it performs on my eyes. So the kickback does not bother me at all. But then again, I'm not a makeup artist, so that makes more of a big deal if you are someone that's going from, you know, one color to the next and you're trying to use the same brush, or you're going from one artist to the next. Although I would assume that if you're going from, not artist, but model to the next, I would imagine if you're going to the next person, then you would either change brushes or wash them and sanitize them in between. So I don't know. I would imagine you'll be cleaning your palette up before moving on to the next person as well. So I don't know. I don't know why it matters if there's kickback or not. Or maybe it's how neat the initial application is, so you don't have to clean up a lot as a makeup artist. These are all just my guesses, whether or not they make sense. So this is Viloria and Naked Blush. And again, they look like on the arms. These should be the third ones down, I believe. Right. So I do like the more peachy tone of this one. Now, before Divine Rose 2 came along, I had been using the Divine Rose 1 without any problems. But if you're someone that's trying to decide between the two, this affords you the opportunity to see how they both perform on my skin tone. So if you're going to invest the money in just one of them, getting a spam phone call. Goodbye. Leave me alone. Okay, so this is my Refer 16. I'm going to go in with Lovelace. Actually, so Lovelace, both Lovelace and Divine Dusk are kind of more chunky colors that I would normally put on with my fingers anyway. So I'm going to clean off my fingers. I've got a little bit of oil here, grapeseed oil that I use to make sure my hands get all this stiff off. Right. So I'm going to put that on how I normally would, just with my fingers first, because that's how I get the most color impact from some of these more chunky or more shiny formulas of Pat McGrath, as opposed to the mattes that I don't bother with my fingers and just go in with a brush. And then I'll use the brush on the crease, because if I were going to use these colors on the crease, that's how I would use them. So that's that. And then using my color switcher, get that nice and clean. Make sure on a white towel there's no residue. Then use my finger to get Divine Dusk on there.